GOP superspreader event is now known as #Rose Garden Massacre. Shoulda left Jackie's flowers alone. If roles were reversed and this was an announcement of a liberal nominee, the conservatives would be calling it an act of a disapproving God. It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away. /Donald Trump, March 10, 2020, The Mask of the Orange Death. With apologies to Edgar Allan Poe and acknowledgement to Stephen King, who may have been the first to tweet it out. Poe wrote a short story about a noble who threw a party for his fellow nobles in his abbey while the peasants were outside dying of the plague, only for them to catch it at the abbey. https://www. SparkNotes. com/lit/Poe stories/section 10/ Are we going with Typhoid Amy, or Amy Covid Barrett? I hope it doesn't remain or fade as just a cute hashtag. I want this recorded in our history books as the single defining moment where the Republican Party's lax public health policies finally bit them in their collective asses and left them with long-term consequences. And if there's any justice in this world, how it cost them the House, the Senate, the White House and Scottish Justice vote. It'll be one of the most epic and humiliating defeat in American history. You had to fuck with Jackie O's trees, didn't you? Ring around the rosies. Pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes. They all fall down. Hopefully this will drive home the point of how important masks and distancing are, even outdoors. Hi, I'm Amy Barrett. I'd like to be a Supreme Court Justice. One thing. I'm unable to judge whether I should wear a mask during a global pandemic, during my confirmation with 10 people that have COVID. Okay. Thanks, Judge, we'll get back to you. Odds are that someone will die from this super spreader event, or at least cause serious and long-lasting health outcomes for a lot of people. So that's why Melania renovated the Rose Garden. She wanted to make room for some headstones. Remember when the right called AIDS a punishment for gay people? Maybe COVID is a punishment for Republicans. You have to hand it to the GOP. In one day they've made many people believe in the possibility of a higher power. Looking at that crowd, I think I see Barrett's adopted children in the front row. What kind of parent brings their kids to a packed maskless event during a pandemic? Maybe she figured that because she already had COVID her kids did too, and were immune, though the data on that is still sketchy, and you are knowingly putting them at risk. These people have been blinded by their privilege and arrogance. They literally think they are too good for this virus. That it can't and won't affect them. I wish their ignorance were astounding, but it's really just par for the course. So. Was McConnell there? Our very own Red Wedding. So the founder of the Bowling Green Massacre became a victim of the Rose Garden Massacre. No. Fuck this. They don't get a cutesy name for their 100-person selfish event where they might finally see the light after 208,000 people have already died. The GOP will get access to the best healthcare in the country. The massacre has already happened at their doing. Did you hear Trump this afternoon? Coronavirus, or whatever you want to call it. He may be infected but nothing has changed. I thought the original Rose Garden Massacre was FLOTUS updated it from Jackie's design. Didn't that bag of laundry just claim on Tuesday that none of his events caused COVID infections? The spirit of RBG is doing the Lord's work. At some point some death is going to be traced back to this event. The depravity of the Republican Party is astounding. We here in Kentucky are still reeling from the Bowling Green Massacre of 2017. Edit, Carrot, and McGrath besting Booker, but that hurts too deep to talk about. Probably more accurate if you just call it a white supremacist rally. GOP killing more Americans than WW2 before we can vote. Can you really call it a massacre if it's self-inflicted? Should have left hope in Pandora's box. I wish a reporter would ask Trump, Mr. President, what do you say to people who insist that your positive COVID-19 test is a hoax? I think it should be called the red vetting, https://I. ib. co/8d0mwld/20201003-154636. JPG. When you vote, please remember that Republicans chose fundraising and campaigning over your safety. The Trump virus. /r/Rose Garden Massacre. Not sure which response I like better. Looks like Trump is going to drain the swamp after all. Looks like Trump turned his 200,000 person death count into a murder-suicide. Timeline of a presidential superspreader event. Day 1. Wednesday, September 23. Suspected date of infection. I suspect that Trump caught COVID around the time he was debate prepping with Chris Christie. Day 3. Friday, September 25. Trump is still asymptomatic, but shedding virus. The Washington Post reports Trump has been preparing for the debates with Chris Christie, Rudy Giuliani, Jared Kushner, and Hope Hicks. Christie states later that no one wore masks. Day 4. Saturday, September 26. He is probably still asymptomatic, but shedding virus. He and Hope Hicks become the super spreaders at the Rose Garden event for his Supreme Court nominee. He also had multiple other private events scheduled that day. Somewhere around here, Trump probably starts showing mild symptoms. Being a known germaphobe, it is impossible to believe he did not insist on being tested at the first signs of infection. Day 7. Tuesday, September 29. The first debate. Trump shows up late for the debate, possibly to avoid being tested. During his performance, he is noted to be flushed and sweating. Chris Christie confirms no one wore masks during the debate preparations. Conspiracy theory time. Trump possibly chose to stay quiet about his diagnosis in the hopes that Biden would catch it and test positive and announce it first so Trump could claim Biden gave him COVID. Day 8. Wednesday, September 30. Trump attends several rallies and fundraising events in Minnesota. No masks are worn in public photos. By this time Hope Hicks is showing symptoms that cannot be hidden and isolates herself. They are still shedding virus at this stage. Day 9. Thursday, October 1. Trump's condition is worsening. Trump receives a non-FDA approved experimental cocktail of drugs which would only be done under dire circumstances. I cannot stress that enough. Overnight, Trump publicly confirms he is COVID positive. Day 10. Friday, October 2. Trump continues to worsen, requiring oxygen. He may require intubation if he gets worse, which is beyond what the WH infirmary is reported to be able to handle. The decision is made to transfer him to Walter Reed while he can still walk short distances without oxygen. The optics of him being taken by stretcher would end his campaign right there. Trump releases a 17-second video of himself talking alone in a room. Presumably, no one else wants to be in the room with him without a mask. Trump is placed in an ICU-level room, as the concern is that he will rapidly decompensate and may need to be placed on a ventilator. Trump is started on remdesivir. Cost is about $3,000 per course of treatment for the drug alone. Cost of hospital ICU level stay is $10,000 to $20,000 per day. Trump paid $750 in taxes last year. Day 11, Saturday, October 3. Trump is still in the hospital. Trump's chief of staff states the next 24 to 48 hours are crucial. Trump releases a 4-minute video. He is without oxygen, but seems tired. His facial color looks much better than at the debate. Chris Christie is hospitalized, right on schedule. We are here. Day 14. Tuesday, October 6. By this stage, patients who are going to worsen usually do, with cytokine storms causing respiratory distress and multiple organ failure and death. If Trump is doing well by this day, he will survive and recover. The odds of residual organ damage is unknown as of yet. Please feel free to copy/paste this to other threads. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd ask why not the Mask of the Red Death, but I guess I answered my own question there, didn't I? It really should be known as the Curse of the Rose Garden after tearing down Jackie Kennedy's tree.